Hello and welcome to Banking Frontiers Live. We are in some very interesting conversations today in the area of analytics, data virtualization, and playing with the game of data. Today we have two very interesting guests with us. Let me introduce you to Sushil Ostwal, who is heading experiences, who is heading data analytics and the game of data at Motilal Oswal, one of the leading capital market players in the country. Sushil, welcome to Banking Frontiers.
Thank you, Babu. Pleasure meeting you guys.
Thank you very much. Let me also introduce you to Prashant, who is the head of Denedo India, and he does a lot of interesting work into the data virtualization space as well. Prashant, welcome back.
Thank you, Babu. Nice meeting you again.
Thanks. Sushil,
Yeah.
I would like to understand from you what is happening in the world of possibilities, especially with this entire digital transformation, which has become more and more rampant in the recent past, and how is data analytics and virtualization playing a bigger role now, moving ahead in the last few months, and what is the visualization of it for the future?
So, a very interesting question. So, see, this year's global crisis has led to shift in expectations hit by the economic downturn, and organization are striving to shorten the payback periods and scale AI efforts across the enterprise, which means suddenly more and more people have now come online and in digitally also. So because people cannot visit the retail branches or come to office and so on. So and many new demographics of people have started coming online and started trading. So when I look at the type of people or profile, it is very interesting to see that right from 18 years or 16 years age to 60, 65, 70 now wants to know what is stock, what is trading, what is stock market, how can they invest in stock trading. And the reason for that is because of this pandemic, there is financial anxiety, and and that's what the triggers that should we have an additional income or source of income, something like that, and hence everyone to start trading and see if they income can there be additional income, and hence immediately the transformation journey which organization thought that it will should be done, it should take 5 years, now suddenly that has pivoted to 1 year 2 year time horizon. And as I said that we need to put organizations to put data and people together to start with, okay. And it could be like a very simple thing wherein you just get people from different business and they start thinking about ideas or data and so on, right. And start pivoting some use cases or piloting use cases with whatever data is available, okay. But what needs to be realized that some of the top challenges that needs to be addressed, uh, 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 which can hinder the organization capability to scale AI, and is data quality. It's basically how you can data be brought together in a data lake, or how can there be single source of truth, and how can data be accessed by a business user or a corporate user, and democratize that. So data quality is one challenge. The second challenge is changing the way people think and work, right. So data science and AI requires that mindset change, and it has to be driven from top down, top. So I see that now that executives and business stakeholders realize the value of this. The third one is, I would say, scaling AI is just not about, I would say, as I said, it's not about technology or it's not about data, but it's about the culture and the fabric of the organization, fundamentally changing the way people think. Second part is, given the sudden change in the demographics and more people coming online, addressing their need and understanding their need uh, at each stage or touch point is very important, because uh, you need to then you need to have lot many, I would say, technology, process, workflows coming together and serving them across channel at the right time, with the right, I would say, right insight or right help. Okay, so that is one shift which is happening, and there is also lot many fintechs companies which have coming up. So the end user has a lot many options to explore and grow. So there will be a lot of, I see, lot of competition.
Uh, how do you bring all this together, especially when you make a data-driven decision making, which is quite common today?
So I would say there are three teams that needs to work together: the technology or the IT, the business stakeholder, and the data owners or the data science or IT. So I'll talk about my experience, because when we started, it was a new function, and there was no such data. Data was available, as you said, across silos, across systems, across processes, in various formats, structure, unstructure, and in multiple ways, in databases, in data warehouses, in Excel files, and whatever that be. Okay.
And now, what is the road ahead from here?
The road ahead from here is, we want to scale up the data-driven decision making, the self-service analytics across the organization. So the roadmap will be where technology roadmap has to be in place, which is, and then the technology needs to address that. How can now data be brought into a data lake, maybe, or central repository, or maybe in cloud, and then who are the users who should be trained, what are some of the use cases that we should start with, then how can we create champions, or because not everyone knows data science or machine learning. So technology, process, data, coming together and
Ongoing,
scaling it up.
and it is an ongoing process.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Excellent. But that brings me to something very interesting. Thank you very much for those insights. Let me just ask Prashant, who has been working into this area. Prashant, when there are so many silos of data and much more are adding through, and there is a lot of chaos also, how can this entire chaos be smoothened up, and what are the kind of possibilities there to make this layer very smooth so that you can take data driven decisions too?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking this question. And first of all, Sushil, great job. Congratulations. I can imagine the amount of efforts your team would have put in to achieve this. The way we can help, or the data virtualization technology can help in achieving this, is we can reduce the time. I mean, the business probably wants all the data available all the time to take the decision faster. And as Sushil mentioned, that the next step is self-service kind of scenario where they don't want the involvement of IT every time, but give that freedom to business to create their own reports, to create their own views, of course, by taking care of governance and security part. And that's where the data virtualization layer can add value in the journey. So data virtualization will help in connecting to new data sources very quickly, whether it's a structured or unstructured or semi-structured kind of data, and integrate and create a view about your customer, about which you can then decide the next step, how you want to work with that customer, and also help in achieving this self-service kind of scenario, which Sushil mentioned, that the business team from the Sushil need not depend on the IT team members every time to create specific reports. And the amount of efforts he has put in terms of, I mean, the data scientist or AI and ML applications, they spend almost 80% of the time in arranging the data source. First, they need to identify which is the appropriate data source. Then all this data would be in different formats, JDBC, ODBC, maybe JSON or something like that. They have to get it in one format so that a meaningful, a data set would be available. And this is where data virtualization can help.
Interesting. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Prashant, for adding that. Thank you very much, Sushil. Great. Thank you very
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Sushil.
Thanks.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Prashant.
Babu, for arranging this.